So we are going to see the last practice, that is on clustering. So this clustering is about understanding the behavior of customers. So we have a data set in which we have collected for a number of years. So we have collected for a number of years from 11 to 14. What are the spendings of one particular customer that we have here with a number in our store, and then this is the amount per year and in euros. And what we see, if you inspect the data carefully, you see that this is the amount of money that they have spent, and this is the amount of transactions that they have performed during the year. So we could also do the analysis uh, per transaction, but we will do it in raw numbers, in absolute numbers per year. Okay, good. So then, as always, the first thing is to see. So we see that we have 7,000 entries, and first thing is to get acquainted with the data, and then here what we have is we have a plot, we have several plots, and here we have the histograms, the joint histograms and the univariate histograms. So this is the histogram for 2001, for 2012, and so on. And then we have also pairwise plots. So here 2011 is vertical, 2012 is horizontal. So this goes more into the future. So 2011 vertical, and then next year is vertical. Okay, so what we can identify here are that there is a strong correlation between the between any pair of variables. We see that there is a shape that is more or less diagonally oriented. The other thing that we can see is that there are some specific patterns, like this vertical line and this horizontal line. The vertical line are people or customers that they didn't buy anything in 2011, but they bought something in 2012, and the same for 2013, 14. The horizontal line is the opposite. So they bought something in 2011, but they didn't buy in 2012. So the vertical line are those customers appearing, and the horizontal line are those customers disappearing from one year to the next. Okay, so next thing is to look at the data. So these are the plots of different profiles, the 7,000 customers for in raw amount, and this is the number of transactions. Here the label is incorrect, and this axis is 1, 2, 3, 4, referring to 2011, 12, 13, and 14. Okay, so this is that, and then we have a summary of, we have as always the beginning of the table, and then we have a summary. So we have a summary for the customer ID that doesn't make any sense, and then for 2011 and 2011 we see that they go from 0 to 849. So this 0 means this is a customer that in 2011 didn't buy anything, but he appeared later in 12, 13, or 14. And then, well, we see that the maximum is increasing from 11 to 12, and also the median. So we can make this larger. So the median is also increasing from 11 to 12. So that is in a sense good, and then it stabilized, and then it stayed there. So the big year was from 11 to 12, and we can analyze the number of transactions and so on. But today we are concentrated on the raw data, on the raw amounts. Here we have the covariance matrix, and as we already know, this the order of magnitude may change quite a lot depending on the nature of each one of the variables, and we see that the uh, 3 last years they have kind of similar variability, and the first year was a little bit special. And uh, what we also see is that um, at least here it seems that the last 2 years or the last 3 years seem to be more correlated with each other. So let us check that we are calculating. Yeah, we are calculating the correlation of the matrix X, and the matrix X is taken from the index, from the variables with the amounts, and these are variables 2 to 5. Okay, so then next thing is to plot the correlation matrix. The is to make a clustering. We will do a clustering of variables. So this is what we have. So what we have is okay, so let's start with this. So this table was sorted to according to 2014. That is why 2014 appears as a sorted plot. But otherwise, all the rest of variables could not be sorted, obviously, because you can only sort according to one of them. And this is what we have. So this is 2014, the purple one, and then the other variables that are more or less correlated. The correlation is not too strong. It is only 0.20 something, 0.30 at most. And then we see the remaining years here. Okay, good. So if we make a plot, sorry, if we make, well, this is a summary of that. This is a box plot, and we see that this increased from 2011 to 2012, and then the more or less stabilized behavior. And what we also see here in the box plots is that these distributions are skewed. They are not symmetric. The length of this whisker is longer than the length of this one, and that means that we have a heavy tail on the right. And then we have the clustering, the hierarchical clustering, and as we saw, the most related years were 2013, 2014. So we could see that here in the correlation matrix. And then they joined 2012, and then they joined 2011. 2011 is the most dissimilar year. Still, we can see in the vertical axis that the differences are not terrible. So, well, let's say that we want to distinguish two different kind of years. So for two different kind of years, we put a threshold somewhere in this gap, because it seems to be the natural gap for that. And then what we see is that we have two different kind of years. So one kind of years that are 13, 14, 12, and those are the good years, and then the worst year that was 11. Now what we will do is the clustering, but now a clustering of customers during the last 2 years, and we will concentrate in 13 and 14, and then see how many in different kind of clusters we have, how many different kinds of customers we have. So I agree that it is not easy to check, but so this is how the data looks like originally. So this is the same plot as we had in the scattered plot at the beginning, but now bigger. And then number of clusters, well, we see a strong reduction from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3 maybe, but then from 3 to 4, 5, 6, they're not so big changes. So let's just to keep it simple, let's keep it at 3. So here is the partition of the original data into 3 clusters, and we can see that we have a cluster of those people who didn't buy much in 2013 and neither bought much in 2014. And then we have the cluster of people who bought more in 2013 than in 2014. So these people are somehow starting to disappear from the store, while these other people are the opposite. They're starting to appear more often by the store. And then we can also make plots of the assignment of these of a particular individual to each one of the clusters. So we have here the prototype of each one of the clusters. So this was cluster uh, 2 in this case, that is those that didn't buy much in 2013 2014. And the difference now with respect to the last analysis is that we are analyzing now 4 years at the same time. So we are making the clustering according to 4 years rather than just the last 2. So we have the profile of those customers that didn't buy much. So they were more or less stable all the time. And then we have the cluster of those people that are new incomers. So they didn't buy much at the beginning, but then they started to buy more and more. And we have the disappearing customers. So they bought more in 2012 than in 2013, 2014. And here we have this kind of similar plot. So these are the same profiles, but now with every individual plotted on the figure. So this would be it for clustering. So we have seen that we can cluster variables, or we can cluster observations, and this would be it.